In the northernmost edge of the world, where snow fell softly even in summer, and the air hummed with ancient magic, stood the Glass Mountain, a towering peak carved entirely of shimmering crystal. At sunrise, it glowed rose gold. At night, it turned transparent, revealing swirling galaxies trapped deep inside its frozen heart. No one dared climb it. Not because it was dangerous, but because it watched. Travelers whispered that the mountain could see dreams, and if it liked your dream, it kept it. At the foot of this enchanted mountain lived a young girl named Aria, with silver-streaked hair and eyes like blue morning frost. Though she was only 16, she worked as a healer's apprentice, mixing herbs and listening to the river for guidance. Aria had always felt an invisible pull toward the Glass Mountain, as though it called her name in a voice made of echo and wind. One winter night, the pull became unbearable. A strange, shimmering light flickered deep inside the mountain, spreading like a heartbeat. The villagers panicked. They believed that when the mountain awakened, something ancient stirred with it. But Aria felt something else. A message, a whisper, a dream not her own. "Come to me before the last star fades." Terrified yet drawn, Aria stepped outside, the wind swirling around her cloak. Snow drifted gently as the mountain pulsed with pale silver light, like a sleeping creature ready to open its eyes. And that night, Aria discovered something that would change everything. A crystal feather, warm to the touch, lay on her doorstep. And the moment she touched it, she saw a vision. A boy trapped inside the mountain, suspended in crystal, eyes closed, waiting. Her breath caught. "Who are you?" she whispered. The mountain glowed brighter, answering with silence and expectation. Aria knew then the dream the mountain wanted was hers, and she was already part of it. Aribel awoke before sunrise, stirred by a strange sound, soft, rhythmic, almost like footsteps, but not normal footsteps. These sounded as if they were made of wind and sand, brushing lightly over the earth. She sat up quickly, rubbing her eyes. The sound repeated. "Shh, shh, shh." "Elyon?" she whispered. But Elyon wasn't in his usual sleeping spot. In fact, his blanket was cold as though he had left long ago. Her heart tightened. She stepped outside the tent and froze. Across the valley floor, illuminated by the faint, pearly light of dawn, were glowing footprints. They shimmered a pale blue, weaving like a trail of light leading deep into the silent valley forest. And they were Elyon footprints. Aribel recognized the shape, small, narrow, with his slightly inward step. But something was wrong. Every few steps, the footprints changed shape, first human-like, then slightly elongated, then almost feline, then back to human. "What is happening to you, Elyon?" she whispered. A sudden cold wind swept past her, and with it came a whisper. "If you follow, you cannot turn back." Aribel spun around, but no one was there. She swallowed hard, her chest tight, but she had already lost too much in life to lose Elyon, too. He was the only person in this harsh world who treated her with kindness, who made her believe that she was more than a mistake of fate. And so she stepped onto the glowing path. For a moment, her foot tingled, as though a warm pulse of energy moved beneath the ground. The valley's silence grew deeper. The trees around her became darker, thicker, their branches stretching like warning fingers overhead. Aribel kept her hand on the dagger Elyon had carved for her, more for comfort than protection. As she walked deeper, the trees began whispering, actual words swirling through the leaves. Turn back. The cursed blood awakes. He is not what you think. Aribel clenched her fists. I don't care what he is. I'm finding him. The glowing trail led to a clearing she had never seen before, a giant circle of ancient stones, each carved with symbols older than any kingdom she knew. At the center stood Elyon, or almost Elyon. His back was turned, his hair glowing faintly silver under the morning light. Strange, dark markings crawled up his arms like living ink. His body trembled as if in pain. Aribel took a step forward. Elyon? She said softly. He stiffened, as though her voice struck him like lightning. Slowly, painfully, he turned. His eyes weren't their warm hazel color. They were bright silver, swirling like a storm trapped inside. Aribel, he breathed, his voice layered with something ancient and unfamiliar. You shouldn't be here. She ignored his warning and moved closer. What's happening to you? Elyon stumbled back, shaking his head. You need to run, please, before it wakes fully. Before what wakes? Aribel demanded. But before he could answer, the ground beneath their feet trembled, and the ancient stones lit up with fiery blue symbols. A bass-like hum filled the air. Aribel grabbed Elyon's arm and gasped at how hot his skin was, burning like a forge. Elyon groaned, gripping his head. It's starting, Elyon. Listen to me. I'm not who you think. My blood, my curse, it's tied to this valley, and now that you've come here, the valley has claimed you too. A crack of thunder split the sky. The symbols glowed brighter. And then a shadow rose from the stones, tall and monstrous, shaped like a wolf with wings of smoke and eyes like molten gold. Aribel's heart stopped. Elyon staggered in front of her, shielding her. His voice twisted with power. Aribel, run! But she didn't. Instead, she drew her dagger and stepped beside him. I'm not leaving you, she said fiercely. Elyon looked at her in shock, then fear. The shadow creature lowered itself, sniffing the air. Then, in a deep, rumbling voice, At last, the guardian awakens. Aribel tightened her grip. Elyon trembled, and the valley held its breath. The shadow creature circled them, its shape flickering like smoke trying to become solid. Its enormous head lowered toward Elyon first, inhaling slowly, as if smelling something ancient in him. Aribel gripped her dagger tighter, her breath shallow. What do you want? She managed, despite the fear choking her. The creature's molten gold eyes snapped toward her. A voice like grinding stone filled the clearing. You smell of the broken bloodline, and he. It shifted its gaze to Elyon. He carries the curse unbound. Elyon stumbled backward, pulling Aribel with him. Don't listen to it, he whispered urgently. It feeds on fear, and it wants me dead. The creature's laugh shook the stones. If I wanted you dead, boy, I would have taken your heart at birth, just like I did your father's. Aribel felt Elyon's hand flinch violently in hers. His father? Taken by this? The creature straightened into a giant, towering silhouette, its smoky wings stretching until they brushed the treetops. The cycle repeats. The blood of the guardian refuses to die. Arimel's mind raced. Guardian? Elyon? Curse? But before she could ask, Elyon suddenly collapsed to his knees, gasping. The dark markings on his arms spread up his neck, pulsing with a terrible light. "No, no, no," he whispered, clawing at his skin, as if trying to tear the markings off. Aribel knelt beside him. "Elyon, what's happening?" He looked up at her, silver eyes swirling. "I'm shifting, but it's not a human form. Not anymore. Get away from me, Aribel. Please. If I lose control—" "No," she said, grabbing his face between her palms. "You fight everything. You fought hunger, pain, loneliness. Don't tell me you can't fight this." His breath trembled. "Aribel, I don't want to be a monster." Before she could answer, the shadow beast stumped the ground, the earth cracking beneath it. "You are no monster. You are my successor." Elyon's eyes widened. "What?" The creature lowered its head until it was inches from Elyon. "You are the last heir of the Valley Guardians. The curse you fear is power. My power. Our power." Elyon's body tensed violently as the markings surged brighter. Aribel wrapped her arms around him to steady him, and instantly a shock wave of energy burst from his chest. The runes on the stones flared blue. The shadow creature roared triumphantly. Elyon screamed, his back arched, and suddenly wings exploded from his shoulder blades. But not feathery wings, not smoky wings like the creature's. They were made of pure silver light, shaped like a wolf's silhouette stretching outward. Aribel shielded her face from the blinding glow. When the light faded, Elyon was kneeling, trembling, wings flickering behind him like unstable flames. Aribel stared. He looked both holy and terrifying. "Elyon," she whispered, You're glowing." He squeezed his eyes shut. "This is why I never let you see me on moonless nights." The shadow creature bowed its head slightly, respectfully. "Rise, young guardian." Elyon forced himself to stand, barely steady. "How are you here?" he asked, voice shaking from transformation and fear. "Why now?" The creature's smile widened, jagged and glowing. "Because she followed you." Aribel froze. "Me? What did I do?" The creature's gaze burned through her. "You woke the valley. You woke him." Elyon's wings flared in alarm. "Stay away from her," he shouted, stepping in front of Aribel. The creature chuckled. "You protect her without knowing why. She is the key. She holds the other half of the Guardian's power." Aribel's heart slammed against her ribs. "What are you talking about? I'm just me." The creature leaned close, its smoky breath swirling around her. "You carry the blood of the lost voice, the one who can command the valley itself." Aribel shook her head. "No, I'm no one. I'm just—" "You are the last of your line." Elyon grabbed her hand, his own trembling. "Aribel, this means the valley won't let you go now. You're bound to this place, to me, to all of this." The shadow creature spread its massive wings. "A choice must be made before the sun rises." Aribel looked between Elyon, glowing, trembling, and the shadow creature waiting. "What choice?" she whispered. The creature growled. "Join him or doom him." Elyon's fingers tightened around hers, and the sky began to brighten with the first trace of dawn. The first ribbon of sunlight crept over the mountains, touching the edges of the clearing with a pale gold. The shadow creature hissed. The light did not burn it, but it unsettled its form, making it waver like smoke caught in wind. Elyon stepped in front of Aribel, silver wings arched protectively. "Don't force her," he snapped, voice trembling but strong. "She doesn't owe you anything." The creature's molten eyes narrowed. "You misunderstand, young guardian. This is not a choice of obedience. It is a choice of fate." Aribel swallowed hard, her thoughts racing. "Explain, now." The creature circled them slowly, each step shaking the earth. "The Valley Guardians cannot rise alone. Their power is half light and half voice. One protects the valley, the other awakens it." It stopped behind Aribel, towering over her. Elyon instantly spun, pulling her into his arms. "Don't touch her," he barked. But the creature didn't move. It simply lowered its smoky head. "The Guardian's wings obey the voice's will, and you, Aribel, carry that ancient call." Aribel's breath hitched. "I don't have any powers. I don't even know what you're talking about." The creature inhaled deeply, smoke swirling around her. "You don't know because your lineage hid the truth. Your grandmother, she silenced herself, so you would never be hunted." Elyon's wings dimmed in shock. "Aribel, your grandmother always insisted you stay away from the valley's center, right?" Aribel nodded slowly. "She said the stones were dangerous. I always thought she was just being overprotective." The creature growled softly. "She knew the valley would recognize your voice. She knew it would answer you." Aribel stepped back, heart pounding. "But what does this have to do with choosing? Why me or doom Elyon?" The creature rose to its full towering height. "If you refuse your role, the Guardian's power collapses. The wings will fade. His body will break under the transformation. He will die before the next dusk." Elyon stiffened as if stabbed. "Don't listen to it," he whispered. "It's twisting things." The creature snarled, shadows rippling across its body. "Truth is not always gentle." Aribel shook her head, tears brimming. "So if I choose wrong, Elyon dies?" "Yes." Elyon grabbed both her hands, silver eyes desperate. "Aribel, please, don't let this thing decide your life. I don't want to trap you, not in this valley, not with me." She stared at him. Elyon, who survived alone. Elyon, who hid wings of light. Elyon, who looked at her like she was something worth saving. "And he would die if she walked away." Her voice broke. "Why didn't you tell me your transformations were killing you?" He whispered, "I didn't want you to worry me. I didn't want to burden you with my curse." The creature's voice thundered. "It is not a curse. It is unfinished power." Aribel wiped her tears. "What do I have to do?" The creature lowered itself, shadows rippling. "You must release your voice. The valley will answer you. Call his wings into full being." Elyon shook his head violently. "No, if she does that, the power binds her permanently. She'll never be able to leave the valley. She'll be stuck with me, forever." Aribel looked at him. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Elyon blinked, stunned. But you have a whole life outside this forest. And you, she whispered, are part of my life too. The creature grumbled impatiently. Decide. The sun rises. Aribel stepped forward, heart trembling but resolute. She looked at Elyon's glowing wings, unstable, flickering, fighting to hold shape. She placed a hand on his chest. I'm not letting you die. Not now, not ever. Elyon's breath shook. Aribel. The creature nodded once. Then speak. Aribel closed her eyes. She didn't know how to release a voice. But the valley, she'd always felt something in it. A hum beneath the earth. A quiet song, buried in roots and wind. So she inhaled and let her heart speak. It wasn't a word, it was a note. Soft, human, breaking. The valley answered with a deep, resonant pulse that shook the trees. Light roared through Elyon's body like a storm. His wings burst outward, expanding, stabilizing, shining brighter than dawn. Aribel cried out as the force threw her backward. Elyon caught her instantly, but his voice had changed. Deeper, steadier, powerful. Aribel, he whispered, staring at her like she was a miracle. You awakened me. The shadow creature bowed, lowering itself into a respectful kneel. The guardian rises, and the voice has returned. But before relief could settle, a tremor ripped through the valley. The air thickened, the sky darkened abruptly. Aribel's stomach twisted. What now? The creature's head snapped toward the horizon, eyes blazing. Something is coming. Something the valley has feared for centuries. Elyon stepped in front of Aribel, wings flaring with silver fire. What is it? He asked. The creature's voice dropped to a low, furious growl. The Devourer has awakened. The tremor that shook the valley did not stop. It grew stronger, rolling through the earth like something enormous was clawing its way closer. Elyon spread his newly awakened wings wide, silver light spiraling off the feathers in fierce waves. Aribel pressed closer to him, clutching his arm. What is the Devourer? She whispered. The shadow creature turned its face toward the horizon, its molten eyes flickering with something that almost looked like fear. A beast older than the valley itself, a hunger born beneath the roots of the world. Another quake struck, trees jerked sideways, leaves flying like frightened birds. Elyon tightened his grip on Aribel's hand. Why now? Why did it wake when Aribel awakened me? The creature growled. Because it feeds on power. The moment your full wings ignited, the Devourer sensed the surge. Aribel's pulse hammered. So it's coming? For Elyon? The creature turned its blazing eyes on her. No, it is coming for both of you. The ground split open in the distance, a jagged crack glowing with sickly violet light. A roar erupted, low and thunderous, rolling through the trees like a tidal wave. Elyon pulled Aribel behind him. Don't panic, he murmured. His voice was steady, but he was shaking. Aribel grabbed his arm tightly. "You can face it now. Your wings are complete." But Elyon shook his head. "No, a guardian alone has never defeated it." Aribel's heart lurched. "Then how do we stop it?" The shadow creature's voice deepened. "Only the voice can bind the devourer." Aribel froze. "Me? But I barely know what I'm doing. I don't even know what my voice is." The creature bent low until its smoky face hovered inches from hers. "You found a note. Find the song." A second roar boomed, closer, louder, shaking loose stones from cliffs. Aribel's breath faltered. I don't know how." Elyon turned to her, cupping her face gently. "Aribel, listen to me." His silver eyes were fierce, unwavering. "When you spoke that first note, it felt like the valley came alive. You have that power inside you. All you have to do is trust it." His silver eyes were fierce, unwavering. "I trust you," he whispered. "I always have." Aribel felt something shift inside her, a trembling warmth, a spark of strength she didn't know she had. Before she could respond, the earth exploded. A towering figure surged from the crack, a monster of shadow and stone, dripping black tar, its eyes two swirling pits of violet fire. The Devourer. Its roar shattered tree trunks like brittle twigs. Aribel staggered backward, gasping. "It's huge!" Elyon planted himself in front of her, wings blazing like a silver storm. "Run," he whispered. "What? No!" "I won't let it near you." The devourer lunged, jaws stretching wide. "Elyon!" Aribel screamed. He leapt into the air, wings slashing the sky, blasting the creature with blinding silver light. The devourer reeled, but only for a moment. It struck back, smashing Elyon from the air with a massive claw. He hit the ground hard. Aribel sprinted toward him. "No, no, no, Elyon!" He pushed himself up, coughing, blood at the corner of his mouth. "I can't hold it, not alone." The creature charged again. The shadow creature stepped between them, slamming its body into the devourer, buying seconds, just seconds, before being hurled away like a leaf in a storm. Aribel stood frozen, tears spilling. Her legs shook. Her voice trembled. "Sing," something whispered inside her. "Call the valley. You are the voice." Aribel lifted her chin. "Elyon." He looked up at her, dazed. She took his hand. "Fight with me." A faint smile touched his lips. "Always." The devourer reared back, preparing its final strike, and Aribel closed her eyes. She inhaled once. Then she sang. A single note at first, soft, fragile, breaking. But the valley heard it. Trees straightened, stones vibrated, the air shimmered. The note grew into a second, then a third, then a rising melody of pure, trembling light. Elyon's wings answered, silver flaring brighter and brighter until they burned like a newborn star. Aribel's song wrapped around him, weaving with his light, creating a storm of power that shook the very air. The devourer lunged, and Elyon and Aribel unleashed their combined force. Light and sound burst outward in a massive wave, hurling the devourer backward, burning away its shadows, cracking its stone hide, forcing it to its knees. The earth thundered with the impact. Elyon held Aribel upright as the last note trembled through the trees. The Devourer roared, then began to crumble. Its body dissolved into dust, scattering across the valley like ash caught in wind. The earth stilled. The tremors ceased. Silence fell. Aribel collapsed against Elyon's chest, breath shaking. Did we stop it? Elyon wrapped her arms around her tightly. Yes, he whispered, holding her like he'd never let go again. You did. But before joy could settle, a faint whisper drifted through the valley. Not the Devourer, something older, something still awake beneath the earth. Aribel shivered. Elyon, what was that? Elyon's wings dimmed. We won the battle, but the war is waking. The valley did not feel like it had been saved, not yet. Though the Devourer's body had crumbled into dust, the whisper that drifted through the air made the leaves shudder and the shadows tremble. Aribel stepped closer to Elyon, clutching his arm. That wasn't the Devourer, was it? Elyon shook his head slowly, his wings still glowing softly, folded behind him like a shield. No, that voice was deeper, older. The shadow creature limped toward them, its smoky edge flickering weakly. You beat the Devourer, but you stirred the heart below. Aribel frowned. What is the heart below? The creature's molten eyes dimmed. The one who birthed the Devourer, the ancient hunger sleeping under the valley's roots. Aribel's breath caught. We can't face something older than the Devourer. We barely survived that. Elyon stepped in front of her protectively. We don't need to fight another monster. We just need to seal whatever has awakened. The ground trembled in agreement, a low, pulsing throb like the valley itself had begun to breathe. Aribel grabbed Elyon's sleeve. Then where do we go? The shadow creature lifted a shaking arm and pointed. To the chasm of echoes, where the valley's song is born. They moved quickly through the towering forest. Light flickered weakly through the leaves. The sky dimmed as if being swallowed from above. Elyon's wings guided them, his feathers shimmering like a torch in a world slowly losing its color. Aribel's heart pounded with every step. I don't know if I have another song in me, she whispered. Elyon stopped and turned toward her. You don't need to know, you just need to try. Aribel looked down at his hand, gently holding hers. Are you scared? She whispered. He exhaled. Yes. She nodded. So am I. But they didn't let go of each other. When they reached the chasm of echoes, Aribel felt the pull immediately, a deep vibration rising from the endless darkness below. Elyon stared into the abyss. It's eating the valley's light, the shadow creature spoke, its voice faint. Only a voice can seal it. Only a guardian can ignite the seal. Elyon turned to Aribel. That means it has to be us. Aribel's eyes filled. But Elyon, if we seal it, what will happen to you? His silence was an answer. Guardians were made of the valley's light. If the seal took all the valley's energy, it would take him too. No, Aribel whispered, shaking her head. I won't lose you. Not now. Not after all this. He cupped her face with trembling hands. You won't lose me. You'll save the valley, and that's all that ever mattered. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Please stay with me." He rested his forehead gently against hers. "I'll stay as long as I can." The chasm pulsed again, a massive surge of darkness rising, screaming like a storm. Elyon stood before it, wings flaring to their brightest yet. Aribel took her place beside him. "Together," he whispered. She nodded. "Together." She inhaled, and then she sang. Her voice trembled, breaking, cracking, but rising again, stronger each time. The song poured into the chasm, sealing cracks of darkness with threads of light. Elyon's wings blazed, a brilliant silver fire fusing with her melody. The chasm screamed, the valley shook, light exploded in a pillar that pierced the sky. Aribel sang until her lungs burned, until her knees weakened, until she thought she would collapse. Then she felt Elyon's hand slip into hers, and suddenly she wasn't singing alone. Elyon's voice joined hers, soft, warm, steady, like a lullaby wrapped in light. Their voices intertwined, becoming one. The chasm convulsed, then snapped shut. Silence fell. The darkness vanished. Light spread through the valley once more. Aribel collapsed, but Elyon caught her. She looked up at him, tears spilling. "You stayed." He smiled, brushing her cheek. "I promised I would." His wings dimmed, shrinking back into soft feathers. "It's done," he whispered. "You saved all of us." Aribel wrapped her arms around him tightly. "No, we saved us." The valley breathed again. Birds sang, leaves glowed, the sky brightened, and for the first time, Aribel felt like she belonged. And so Aribel, the girl who once feared her own voice, became the song that healed a broken world. And Elyon, the guardian who once feared his own fate, found a life worth choosing, not just protecting. Side by side, hand in hand, they learned that some battles are won not with power, but with love that refuses to let go. May your heart always find a song in its quietest moments. May your light never fear the dark. And may you sleep tonight knowing this: even the smallest voice can save a world.